King Charles has cancer, and it is not in remission. According to every credible source covering the British monarchy right now, the man who spent more than 70 years waiting to be king is quietly doing something that no one in the royal family wants to discuss publicly. He is planning for what happens after him. Not in the abstract, long-term way that monarchies always plan, but in the specific, urgent way of someone who has looked at a timeline and started making real decisions about real things. This is the reality behind the palace gates, a quiet countdown that reshapes everything we thought we knew about the future of the crown, and it brings us directly to the heart of Palace Insider, where we strip away the clickbait to look at the cold, hard truths of the British monarchy. Tonight, we are going deep into that planning. What we actually know from credible reporting, what the informed speculation says about the parts we cannot see, and what William's eventual succession means for the single most complicated, least resolved question hanging over the British crown. What happens to Harry when his brother becomes king? The answer to that question is not inevitable. It is being shaped right now by choices being made behind closed doors, and the outlines of those choices are starting to become visible to anyone paying close enough attention. But to understand the future, we have to look at the chilling historical precedent William is using as his blueprint, a case study in institutional survival that will dictate exactly how Harry is dealt with, a revelation we will unpack in just a few moments. Let us start with what is actually known and documented, because the speculation only makes sense against the real background, and because being clear about which is the only thing that separates true analysis from the AI-generated royal clickbait filling up feeds with fictional meetings and invented final wishes. Operation Menai Bridge is real. It is the official code name for the succession plan covering the transition of power from Charles to William. From the moment of Charles's passing, through the announcement to the Prime Minister, the period of national mourning, the ceremonial arrangements, the proclamation of the new sovereign, and the formal transfer of every piece of institutional machinery that makes the monarchy function, everything is mapped out. Every department has its role. Every announcement has its timing and its protocol. Every detail, down to the specific language of the official communications, has been prepared, reviewed, and locked away. This operation did not come into existence because of Charles's cancer diagnosis. It existed long before that because succession planning is a permanent, institutional function in the British monarchy. It is an operation that runs quietly in the background because the alternative is an institutional crisis at exactly the moment when stability is most urgently needed. What the cancer diagnosis changed was not the plan itself, but the emotional temperature around it. The conversation moved from theoretical to proximate in a way that everyone inside the palace structure understands clearly, even if no one dares to articulate it directly in public. Charles knows this better than anyone. He is a man who spent more of his adult life as heir apparent than any British monarch in history. Decades of preparation, decades of waiting, decades of watching his mother perform a role that everyone around him knew would eventually be his. He has had more time than any living person to think about what the institution requires and what it costs. His cancer does not appear to have made him resigned or sentimental. By every credible account, it has made him incredibly focused and utterly deliberate. The decisions he is making right now about the distribution of responsibilities, about which engagements are transferred to William, about how the public and institutional roles are structured in the time he has left, are not driven by emotion. They are driven by a singular, profound understanding. What he leaves behind has to be stronger and more stable than what he inherited. William and Catherine have been absorbing responsibilities at a pace that observers who cover the royal family closely have noted explicitly and consistently. Solo engagements that would previously have stayed in Charles's diary are being transferred. Foreign visits carrying significant diplomatic weight are going directly to William. Catherine, who built her public role incrementally across more than a decade of public life, earning it through consistency rather than claim, is now operating at a level of visibility and institutional centrality that would have been unrecognizable in the early years of her marriage.
I'd just like to make the point that we're very fortunate that His Majesty has allowed us to use Buckingham Palace for this event. Interestingly, if you like, I'm not here because this was my choice. You very kindly asked me to become patron of your organisations. So it's an honour for me to have all of you here as part of that.
Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to discover that everything you believed about your future was built on a lie? That's exactly what happened when Princess Anne entered the gilded halls of Windsor Castle, carrying a message so explosive it would tear apart centuries of royal tradition and leave two princes questioning everything they thought they knew about their destiny. This isn't just another royal scandal. This is the moment when King Charles, facing his own mortality, made a decision so unprecedented that it would redefine the British monarchy forever. And what Princess Anne revealed that day didn't just shock William and Harry. It sent seismic waves through every palace corridor, every government office, and every corner of the Commonwealth. The calm before the storm. The invitation arrived without warning. A simple, cream-colored card bearing the royal seal, summoning the most important figures in the line of succession to an urgent family consultation. No details, no explanations. Just an ominous sense that whatever was about to unfold would change their lives irrevocably. Inside the Oak Room at Windsor Castle, the atmosphere was suffocating. This wasn't the grand throne room where state ceremonies took place, nor the informal drawing rooms where the family typically gathered. This was the monarch's private sanctuary, where only the most confidential discussions occurred. The choice of venue sent its own chilling message. Prince William sat rigidly in a high-backed chair, his military training evident in his perfect posture despite the obvious tension coursing through his body. Beside him, Catherine maintained her characteristic composure, though those who knew her well could detect the slight tremor in her hands as she smoothed her dress. They had been married long enough for her to recognize when William was truly worried, and his silence spoke volumes. Across the ornate Persian rug, Prince Harry occupied a solitary chair. The physical distance from his brother seemed to mirror the emotional chasm that had grown between them over the years. Meghan's absence was deliberate and telling. This was being treated as a blood family matter, one where outsiders, no matter how beloved, had no place. The room itself seemed to hold its breath. Ancient portraits of long-dead monarchs gazed down from gilded frames, their painted eyes seeming to witness this unprecedented moment in royal history. The grandfather clock in the corner ticked with metronomic precision, each second bringing them closer to revelations that would shatter their understanding of everything they thought they knew about succession, duty, and family loyalty. King Charles himself remained conspicuously absent from this gathering. His empty chair at the head of the room loomed like a throne awaiting Judgment Day. Those present understood that his absence wasn't accidental. It was strategic. What was about to be revealed was too emotionally charged, too potentially devastating, for him to deliver personally. Instead, he had chosen